Hey everybody, today we'll talk about database backdoors and we will try to exploit a vulnerability that, if exploited, will lead to the creation of database backdoor. Or basically, database backdoor is when you create username and password entry, like when you create, for example, your email address and add a password for that email and add them to the one of the SQL tables at the vulnerable server. So in that case, you're creating an access for yourself and making, for example, if you want to try to log in to this database, you will use that username and password you have created previously while you are exploiting the vulnerability in the database. So here, this attack or this vulnerability consists of two stages. The first stage is figuring out that there is a vulnerability in how the database filters the input that is being created by the user in this field. For example, in this vulnerability in here, we have to create two SQL statements. For example, if you can, the application here tells us that if we type 101, which is the ID of the user, and click submit, we will have the entry or the table, like the columns for the user ID 101. So our table is employee, and we have, for every user ID, we have the password, SSN, salary, and email address. So basically, when we type some ID in this box, this SQL statement gets executed in database server. So basically, the main SQL statement that's being executed here is this statement. So in order to execute another database, another SQL command, we need to separate the SQL statement from the statement which we're going to create or type in the box in here. So here the application or the challenge is telling us that we need to change for example, the salary entry that's associated with the user ID 101. Okay, so the first stage is trying to manipulate or override some columns or some values which are associated with the user ID 101, so we can conclude that the database is vulnerable and has a weakness against SQL manipulation. So here we will type user ID 101 and typing semicolon, then entering our command, which will like update the salary field, and we will update the password, so you can change the password for the user ID 101. Okay, so here we type update. Our table is employee, and then we will set our desired values. For example, salary, we would like it to be, for example, let's say $7,000, and we will change the password field to be something else. Let's say, for example, 101, and let that statement execute. Okay, so here, as you can see, that the password has been changed and the salary as well, according to our SQL statement or according to the command we have entered in the box in here. So guys, here we have executed two consecutively execute two commands. The one is, which is the default command, and the other is our command. So we have manipulated the database entries, as you can see in here. So the next stage is creating backdoor in the database, so we can access the database remotely without the admin or the admin notice. So our login into database will go unnoticed, as we will create backdoor in the database. Okay, so here the WebGoat application is very helping and trying to educate the users who are trying to challenge themselves and exploiting those vulnerabilities. For example, here the application is showing us the command which is used to create trigger. Now the trigger is special code that's upon viewing the database or upon logging into database, the trigger, which is the next command after the trigger word, will get executed. Okay, so here we will execute this command. Okay, but we will change a bit in this command. For example, copy. Okay, now our trigger is, let's change the name for something else. CNC. Now before insert on the table is employee, which will be affected by the trigger. Okay, for each row we can update employee set email. now here we get to put the email address that we're gonna use for logging into the database remotely. So here this email, okay, you put the email address that you will be using when you're trying to access the database remotely. Okay, so you leave it as this, but we will create another entry for the password. So password equal, for example, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, where user ID new. Okay, now the overall command is now, okay, so this is the email address and the password which will be added to the table employee. So whoever is the owner of this email address and the password as well will be able to log in to the database remotely without the admin's notice. So this is basically the database backdoors. Okay, so let's click on submit. Okay, now it's saying that the lesson is completed, but let me see if, let's try to show the new database entries. Select from, okay, submit. Okay, the password has been changed, and let's try to click on new. Okay, because the database, the WebGoat database is built on in a way that it doesn't support triggers, but we have completed the lesson and the backdoor has been created in the database, as you can see. But the main reason is our entry has not been shown while we are trying to type select star from employee, is the reason that the database or the WebGoat database doesn't support triggers. Okay, so that's it. Hope you find it useful, and thank you.